Hey guys, so in today's video, it's going to be relating to my masters. Hopefully it's something people might find very interesting if you haven't known already. I'm going to be making kombucha leather, so it's made out of the SCOBY that makes kombucha. And luckily enough, I got gifted with a SCOBY hotel from my aunt. That has a lot of SCOBY in it. Firstly, what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean the SCOBY, and then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take one of these SCOBYs and do a test run to see how it dries out for my leather. So this is going to be my test run. That's what we're going to do today. I'm very scared to be touching this. If I'm being very honest, it doesn't look very, safe. But we'll see how this goes. I've also got some tea bags to brew my new batch, and then we're gonna use some sugar because the SCOBY needs sugar to feed off because it's yeast and bacteria. So that's what I'm going to do first. So the very first thing when you're cleaning SCOBY is that you have to have clean hands and clean fingers because you don't want to infect it. So that's what I've already done. And then now we're just going to take it out and then give it a clean. I'll show you from watching a lot of YouTube videos how to clean SCOBY properly. And then I'll show you how I prep one of the SCOBYs to be dried. So yeah, let's get into this. Do have a bowl to put the SCOBY into that's clean and there's no nonsense in here. Starting off the bat, this smells like your socks that you've worn for 3 months straight and you haven't washed them since. So the smell is quite intense, and on top is just a cheesecloth to sort of get it going. Oh my god, I'm I'm actually nervous to stick my hand in here. Anyway, so let's start off with the first little SCOBY in this hotel. So oh wow, that texture is quite. Oh, so how we clean this? Sometimes you can see there's multiple SCOBYs already living off of this big one. So with this SCOBY, you can see how dark it is, and that means it's a pretty mature SCOBY. Your SCOBY that's a bit lighter is something more of your newer ones, but I'm just gonna run my finger to get this off. And what that is essentially just existing bacteria and yeast that is on top of it. And then if you really want to, you can see that there's another SCOBY that's sort of lying on top of this, but you can peel that off and there's another SCOBY for you. But I'm just going to take her out. The smell, I actually don't know if I can deal with it, but if I'm being honest, if someone's watching this and they see what SCOBY looks like, no one's going to want to buy products made from this. But I promise you, this is not what's going on your skin. It's dried out and it's fine. Okay? So let me just explain how the process of actually getting this leather. See, this one's a lot nicer. Look how beautiful that is. Wow. So the process of actually getting leather from kombucha is that you sort of take one of these. Say if I'm going to take this one, and then I'm going to rinse it with water to get all of that bacteria off of it, and then you put it on a wooden plank. Wood is often used, and you let it dry. Sometimes people make frames, like wooden frames that clamps the SCOBY in place, but you can also just place it on wood and let it sit and dry. So you can use a fan to dry it out. It takes a few days, but yeah, it's quite worth it. And then after that, you add some sort of wax, so it can be beeswax or coconut oil. Just rub it across the surface so that it's nice and soft and pliable. Overall, this isn't going as bad as I thought it would. The texture is definitely something I don't want to be touching ever again, but I'm going to be dealing with this for 2 years, so I'm going to have to love it. Okay, I can't actually get this one out. It's so slippery. Oh, she's thick. Oh my god, she is. You know, guys, look at her. Oh, look at the layers, guys. Doesn't that look so delightful? When we take all of this nutrition, so this liquid that it's in, that's what it feeds off. And when you're making new tea for the kombucha, is that it's very important to keep this starter so that, you know, there's some bacteria already there for the kombucha. So it's very important to keep this initial starter so then they keep reproducing and they don't stop. I'm just gonna rinse it out with some water and some soap, and then once you've done that, you're gonna let it dry for a bit. We are going to be sort of rubbing the inside with either apple cider vinegar or some sort of vinegar that you have. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a plate and I'm going to wash down the SCOBY that I'm now going to dry. And then this queen can just sit in here and ferment while I do all of that. She's been washed, and now I'm just going to take this outside, get a wooden board, and then we're going to lay her down, and then, well, let's say lay her down to rest because it's her time. So I literally am just going to plop it on like this. I'm just going to spread it out a bit, but that's literally what we are going to do. So, like I said, what we're going to do now is that we need to brew this fresh batch of tea for my little babies to grow. They're now my little babies because they are subjecting their life to science. I'm gonna brew for my new kombucha to grow into a new container. I'm gonna brew 4 tea bags of green tea, and I'm gonna add a cup of sugar to it. So I'm just gonna let the kettle boil and then I'm gonna get a mega pint to then brew all this tea, and then I'm gonna add sugar to it, let it go down to room temperature it has to go to, okay? Once it gets to room temperature, I'm going to add the kombucha into the new glass dish with a little bit of the starter in as well so it can thrive. The rest of my SCOBYs are going back into the SCOBY hotel. I'll probably also brew something up for them so that they can also live and thrive. I'm going to use this big mixing bowl and I'm going to add my 4 packets. Just going to add my hot water, and then we're going to let this steep. We need it to steep. This is what she looks like. We are adding sugar to this. As kombucha thrives off of sugar because it's a bacteria. It needs something to feed off to grow. And someone may be asking, how does it even grow? Well, with the SCOBY, it releases cellulosic fibers. Okay, so because it's plant-based, if anyone didn't know, kombucha SCOBY is plant-based. It releases these cellulosic fibers, and from doing that, that's how it grows together. If I am not mistaken, this is what I've researched about. So now we're just gonna add some sugar in here. Okay, so I've already put vinegar inside of the jar, poured some of the SCOBY back in here with the starter culture. So the only one I have left is just 1 SCOBY in here that I'm going to put in a bigger pot. And now I'm just going to add a little bit of this liquid mixture to this, just so it has something to feed off. I'm not going to pour everything in here. Most of this is going to go into my new jar, but we're going to do this now, and then we're going to cover her, and then she's going to be brewing. Now, this is the mega jar that I'm going to be using to grow my SCOBY. I'm just going to put 1 in here and see how large it can get. So we'll see how this goes. If needed, I can always put in another SCOBY later on to see how big they both grow. They might merge into one. But I'm just going to wipe this down with a paper towel, and then I'm going to wipe it with some vinegar. Hey guys, it's been like an hour or 2. Sorry, I had to change my shirt. I spilled something on it that I wasn't supposed to. But the SCOBY's in here. I'm just going to add 1 more of the tea bag solution. This is just the last tea bag solution. It is definitely lukewarm now, veering to cold. I'm going to take the tea bags out, and then we're going to add it to the jar. And then afterwards, we are going to then add a little bit of water to it. So the this is what the SCOBY is currently looking like. That one's taking a bit more time to dry. I did move it. It's looking interesting. This is already drying out. It feels like snakeskin. It's still a little damp to touch, but other than that, it's doing really well. These ones are still a bit wet. That one is definitely wet. This is a little wet, but this really thin one is doing really well. Only a few hours the same day drying. Update you guys maybe a little later in the day or even tomorrow on how it's drying out. But overall, I'm very happy. Hey guys, it's currently Monday and I just have a little update on my kombucha. All of it is pretty much dried. It's all dried now, and the interesting thing is that everything is so soft. It sounds rough. And I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment. My boyfriend asked me what happens if we were to put this back in water. And I said, I don't know. Maybe it will become like mush. But then I also wanted to know what happens if I tried to dye this with food dye. I know this is not very sustainable. I could probably do this naturally, but I just want to see what will happen if I put a little piece in water with some dye and leave it there and then dry it out again. Will it become green or will it not adhere to this? We're going to add some food coloring to a glass jar with some water, and then we're going to leave one of these little dried up kombucha in it. I know I've seen a lot of research saying that you should dye it before you dry it, but why not try dye it once it's dried? Let's just see how this goes, I guess. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna leave it to sit in here for maybe around an hour. So the current time is 9:46, so I'll come back at 10:46 and then we will take it out, put it on the wooden board and let it dry. Been in here for a little over than an hour, so I'm going to get it out and then we can sort of see what it looks like. It's very green. So let's get this going. The good thing is that it hasn't broken and the feeling is like slime, but it's not actually too bad, and it's very green, which I'm very surprised that it's turned this green. So I'm just gonna let this sit and dry and then we'll see what happens, I guess. Hey guys, so it's been a bit of a while in terms of that it's currently Thursday. I haven't updated you since actually dyeing dyeing my kombucha, and also how this new jar is going. And yesterday I decided to look at the jar because I saw something floating in the jar, and I would happily like to say I've got a new kombucha already in this jar that is the size of the jar. It is very young, she is very translucent, and she's very fragile. So yesterday I was not picking her up because she would have broken half, but I thought I would show you what she looks like. I know you can't really see, but do you see that light thing in there? I saw it yesterday and I went, not a chance that I have such a massive kombucha in here. So I'm going to show you her, and then I'm going to show you my green kombucha. Look how massive she is. She's a lot thicker than yesterday. But like, please guys, look at how big she is. She's like the size of this whole jar. And that's quite big for a kombucha. I do still have the other one in here. The other one is underneath this one. But you can clearly see she is growing. The other one is underneath there. You can't even see it. But I saw this weird line and I went to know that's definitely something bigger. So in terms of my green kombucha, we still have our really thick kombucha.
I don't know, you can't really see it on the camera, but she is very translucent. And then we still have the other ones that are a bit thinner, which are obviously a lot more translucent than the others. This one's a lot more crispier than the others. Like, listen to this. You see how it sounds soft and supple? This sounds very crispy, but I don't know if people would enjoy a colored thing like this versus something like this. So this is what the new dyed kombucha looks like. So it's definitely very interesting to look at. I don't know if I enjoy this more than the natural sort of look to it. But yeah, that's all I can report on this week. This video is going up tomorrow. So if you guys have any feedback, if there's anyone out there that is very knowledgeable about this, please email me. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. You can like this video, you can comment something silly, or you can comment something that maybe I don't know about kombucha leather that will help me, and whether you guys kind of like this. Please let me know in comments if you guys actually like the look of this and you would actually wear something that's made like from this. Like, it looks like a leaf, but it doesn't feel like a leaf. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye!